Good evening, guys. This one is one of those where we're turning it around, because there was football as far as the DSTV Premiership was concerned today, the three games to be exact. And so we're turning this around, having seen what happened in those games, and of course, knowing full well that the nation of South Africa is probably seeing how Percy Tau's debut in his first start for Brighton is going to go. So you're probably going to watch this a bit later. So we're not even worried about kind of getting you in on this now, but you'll have this waiting for you as a bit of a dessert later when you get done watching that game. We all hope that he has a great performance and we'll get to see him soon. But let me introduce my panel this evening as we reflect on the day's action. I have Calvin Sosibo joining me. I've got Eddie Dinya and Schwabe Walters also joining me. Gents, thank you so much. Welcome. Let's reflect quickly on what was a formative day for some clubs as far as progress and moving forward and momentum and maybe a change in fortunes. Of course, let's start with the first result of the day. And I'll start with you, Eddie, because I saw these guys on Monday. How do we characterize what we saw from Kaizer Chiefs? I mean, it is who we expected to be dangerous for them. He's kind of slotted back in and given his coach a lifeline, the fans a lifeline, his team a lifeline. And, just like that, their fortunes are turned around against what is a good AmaZulu side.
I think, yeah, it was a very good game to watch. I think both teams, they really wanted to win. I mean, they showed the viewers that listen, any team can win. But the good thing is that I think Kaizer Chiefs won the game, and it's been long. I think they wanted it. I think everybody also is talking about Nukovic, that he came in and then he is the one that gave them the goal, which is very good. But I think also Kaizer Chiefs really wanted that win. I think that will boost them to their next game, and so that they can move away from where they are right now. But I think overall it was a very good game. AmaZulu had their chances too, so AmaZulu could have won the game too, but they missed their chances. So it was a very good game to watch.
Okay, well, Shreem, I mean, obviously the big talk is about seeing someone like Nukovic just being able to come back to such good impact, but this was all under the doom of gloom and gloom of, Kamabiliat and Castro not being around. There is a danger, isn't there, that, this result without the requisite bodies and experience and other players you need to chip in could be one of those where, can they sustain it? I guess is my question. Do you think, based on that performance from today?
Yeah, for me it was the thing that I liked about Samir Nokovic is that they even mentioned it. The commentators mentioned it during the warm up. They can see there's a big brother figure, and what I look at and what I can see is that his influence on the field, his desire, the way he fights, he leads the team already from the front, and I think that's a positive thing. And just as much as Kama Billiat and Castro are competitive players, you can see that just his actions on the field, Samir Nokovic, it just brings life to the rest of the team. And as much as it wasn't the prettiest of football, because I mean, if you look, Kaizer Chiefs committed 25 fouls, something similar to the way Gavin used to be at Bidvest, where it used to be a fight all the time. We break down play. You could even see it with him bringing in Cardoso into the midfield. He knew that they were going to try and have 1-2 passes, play 1-2s, especially when Mamela came on. So in that sense, as you could see that he just wanted to break down their momentum. And yeah, I think Nokovic is going to be a big influence for the team themselves going forward.
Kelman, I mean, what Schwabe saying, how aggressive and their approach was to this game. Are we finally seeing what Gavin, maybe was looking at as the final missing piece of what is a very small and short puzzle, because he can't bring in bodies, obviously, but, having Nukovic back and essentially now with the responsibility to carry this team and the players that Schwabe alludes to that he inspires in the absence of other players who've just not been able to get the team going this season. Cometh the hour, I tweeted earlier, cometh the man. Is this the moment?
Yeah, I think it is a moment, yes. But first of all, I just want to say it's a great win for Kaizer Chiefs. It's going to boost their confidence going forward. Even though AmaZulu created more chances in the first half, which actually changed the whole dynamic of the game. But the thing that Chiefs did very well was that they took advantage by scoring early to protect their lead. With Nokovic being used as a big figure up front, it actually assisted them. And also some of the things that are notable that with the substitute that the coach has made, which the introduction of Ngobo gave them more attacking options. They started having more scoring opportunities into their final third. And Zuma also, looking at him, he was a changed man. He had a very balanced game because he won most of the 1 versus 1 on the side. He brought in some crosses in the box, and he also had some shots at goal. So, it was a good match overall for Gavin, even though the puzzle are fitting now quite the way that he wants. But it was good to see.
Okay, and then I guess, Shoaib, in terms of AmaZulu and that performance, it's not like they didn't have opportunities. They did. It's strange because the way they've been playing and the mood in the camp, you would have thought they would have had, more finesse. It would seem, playing with a happiness that Benny was alluding to initially when he came in. But it seemed like Chiefs really got under their skin today and settled them.
Yes, I think that was one of the strategies going when you play against a team like AmaZulu, when they're a bit of a free-spirited team when it comes to attack, but also they build up. You can see a lot of fluency in the attack, in the build up. Where I have to disagree with the rest of my panel is, yes, they've created chances, but they only scored. I mean, the first shot on target was in the 75th minute. They had 7 shots, but the first one is only in the 75th minute. So yes, as much as we look, yes, Benny's brought in a positive where they, Mlambo gets into the box a bit more. He got a bit of a more free role, and he's combining with the attackers. They still haven't yet found that. And Benny had that problem at the beginning with Cape Town City as well. They were playing good football, but up until the final third. And that is where Mtembu had a header in the first half, which I think he should have at least hit the target. So they are getting there. I think that's going to be the determining factor for AmaZulu, whether they're going to be in the top 8 or in the bottom half come at the end of the season, is if they are going to improve on that and converting those chances into hitting the target first of all, and then into obviously scoring those chances.
I mean, Eddie, there was some interesting omissions as far as the starting 11 was concerned. Why didn't Benny start with the likes of Luvuyo Memela? Major is the player that Shoaib is referring to about the 77th minute when he came in and took a shot. That's they had to bring him off the bench. Why not start with these players? It's easy to speak in hindsight that they've impacted the game, but this is a big occasion, and Major against a former team, Memela in the form that he's in. What do you think the tactical thinking from Benny might have been to leave those two out?
I think for Benny, I think it was a case of him trying to figure out how Chiefs are going to approach the game. And as the game went on, I think that's when he realized, because I think it was also a tactical play whereby he wanted to find out exactly where their weakness was going to be. And I think him putting those two on the bench and then bringing them later on added more value in terms of what he wanted to achieve. I mean, if you look at the first half, it was a game of it was fouls everywhere. Everybody was kicking. Everybody was being aggressive, of which I think that's exactly what Benny wanted. And then as later on the game progressed, then he introduced those two, and they immediately changed the game too. And that's when now, like what Troy was saying, that their first target was on the 75th minute. I think that's when the chances started coming in. And I think with Benny, that's exactly what he wanted to do. But the fact that Chiefs scores first, of which I don't think that he
Eddie,
was.
No, but Eddie, they scored in the 11th minute, right?
Yeah.
He brings in Memela in the 60th, and then he brings in Major in the 75th. You've been losing for all that time, and you think that's the time to bring those players in to affect the game.
And then AmaZulu only had one shot on target, eh? One shot on target and 13 shots.
Who's that?
You can bring in
AmaZulu.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Is that like, why wait so long? 15 minutes.
They had 13 shots, but one on target.
You can bring in a player in the 85th minute and then can easily score a hat-trick. It's football. It can happen like that.
I guess, but I think you have to be a bit more pragmatic in the situation where
I think
you're playing against a side that are playing for their pride and for that badge, and you've got two effective players on big occasions who could have, come on in. Or what? Did they underestimate this Chiefs team? I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to understand why not put your best foot forward.
if I was Benny, I would actually have went with Majoro and Mamela because I'm sure
Right.
Chiefs are around those players. Reason being
But
is
would you have
Majoro has an
started?
appetite.
So sorry, Calvin. Would you have started with Mamele and Mamachoro?
That's what
Yes,
he's saying. Yeah.
I would have
Okay.
started with Majoro
Okay.
and Mamela to put Chiefs on the back foot because trying to test their confidence more or less. So
They were
if
trying
I
out
am going to
something new, especially today, Kelvin. So you're right. It would have been the perfect time to kind of just,
Yeah.
do what you do well and let them experiment, but whilst you put pressure. You're right.
while finding Kaizer Chiefs on a low in confidence, put those extra players that's going to put Chiefs on their best guard in terms of their defense. Because looking at the ball percentage, AmaZulu had the most ball percentage, which is they had 64. Chiefs had 36. So looking at that, AmaZulu were attacking, but they just needed that final touch to actually to have those conversion. So the better person to have played the game, to start the game, was going to be Majoro and Memela. I'm sure something would have came out from that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in the end, the real hero and the star striker that'll come out of this whole thing is with Nurkovic just literally picking up from where he left off in his first start. So there's a question that's coming from Goketso Miller on YouTube asking, do you think Gavin was overly ambitious with taking on his role as the Kaizer Chiefs head coach? Has he bitten off more than he can chew?
No, not at all. Look, as much as people are saying you are banned for transfer windows to make any signings, I do believe that they also need to give him a little bit of time. He needs a little bit more time, and I don't think. And you have to also look and do that. To the viewer that is asked that question, I think he needs to go and actually check Gavin Hunt's success and how the success has come. It hasn't come within one season.
Overnight. No, for
It hasn't
sure.
come with, and now with this whole two transfer window bans, he might need a little bit more time. So I do think they should have a little bit of faith, but they should also have a lot of patience with him now.
Is he afforded that time?
What's
Sorry?
that?
Is he afforded that time looking at the result?
Look, I don't think for me, I don't think Kaizer Chiefs expected to compete.
Title challenge.
Yes. But they didn't also expect to be in this position. They would have said, okay, do you know what? Look, you lost to Maritzburg. You drew the game before that, which you should have won or lost. And those are the things that they're going to look at, the games that they have lost or drawn that they should have won. For me,
And
that
also,
is where.
Shoaib, isn't part of it that like Gavin walked into something that's not a mess of his own making? Surely that buys him more time. He's walked into a situation that he didn't create where he's got this, an inability to get players. Surely that buys him more time because he's essentially saying, hey.
But as a
Okay.
coach, that's the attitude to go with. If you take up any job, you have to be willing to roll with the punches. So Gavin, with his track record, yes, we don't dispute that. He's a good coach, yes. And to whatever that is, to what's there on Kaizer Chiefs right now, it's just maybe to get the philosophy of the team back in action. Maybe start playing according to how he believes. Stop making maybe more changes and then maybe trying to fit players on different positions because they need to adjust more as players. If I'm playing as a left back and then I'm played on the right back, it's difficult for me to adjust, even though that we need results. But at the end of the day, we need to understand that try and play players on their natural position and see how we work out through that. Yes, it is a mess, but now we can't always, we're not going to hide away and say now, okay, yes, I got this in a mess. You can't make such excuses. Do your best as a coach as you dare and try to actually to wheel the team forward in getting the result.
But my for me is okay. It's a question to all the other panels. Sorry, Kamsa, if I'm stealing your
No, 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 no.
your limelight.
Sorry.
But
I want to hear your answer to my question when you're done with this one. Go for
okay,
it.
no, because my question is that they've only lost 2 players. It's George Maluleka and I just hit the blank now. It was just George Maluleka, and who's the other? Oh, gosh, there was another player that they've lost. But it's only 2 players
I
since.
think it should be George.
It's only
Since
George, but now that my question
George.
is, does it change
No,
Chiefs overnight?
no,
No,
to
wait,
get
sorry.
that team?
wait, Kelvin. Let's try to finish because I want to answer that too.
Yeah, sorry. It was George and it was Samir Nokovic for the first 10 games, and
Which
that's
he
what I
was
wanted to
injured.
say.
So
Yes, the
Yes,
they
injury.
lost him
yes,
based on injury.
but
Yes.
yes, but what I'm saying is that a team that competed for the league and only lost 2 of their main players is
One on injury,
it,
one on transfer.
yes. Is that warranted still for him to be that low on the log? Or do this poorly?
No.
Now that is
For me, no.
also, yeah. Now that is just also what I also feel. I also feel that way to a certain degree. I know I'm playing a little bit devil's advocate, but I also feel that as much as you're saying we don't have players or we're using youngsters, but this was the same squad that competed for the league last season.
And
But
finish
Are the
second.
next
wait,
two
are we now back to underestimating the psychological effect? Because I feel like it's been said as a factor, as a contributing factor. But then when now we're saying that they're over it, is today's result them over the bump? Because we've said there's been a confidence crisis at Kaizer Chiefs. And then, just in this discussion, we've spoken about how it seems that the return of Nurkovic has lifted people. So could that be maybe what has explained this?
I think the confident factor comes into this. What is the application of the game first? What is the way of them playing secondly? If you can actually master those two, then at least you have a way moving forward. Because as a player myself, if I'm playing in a system that I don't understand, I'm not going to give my best because I don't know how I need to apply myself. So in this position, my question is the application of the system that is being used, is it suitable for the players that they have? Because firstly, you need to look at the panel that you have. You need to look at the players that you have. Can you fit them in this position? You cannot be playing a system that demands a lot, but you have players that don't have the work rate. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
So if the system that Gavin is trying to use, and then the players are not the players that played the whole of last season, finished second on the log, and now Gavin comes in with a different system, and now the players can go up and down. So should we say that they don't have the legs to go up and down now because of the system that he's playing, or
No.
as a player yourself, you have played the game, you know that this I cannot do, this I can do.
But remember,
Okay.
the coaches demands different things. The coaches
Yes,
demand differently. So now I'm saying to you, if you're gonna play me on the right, I'm left-footed. What do you expect out of me?
Kevin,
If you're gonna play me on the right,
you should know
no,
exactly
let's
what.
leave the experience
No, I'm
because
just saying.
remember, it's not
I'm
my
just saying,
comfortable
because everybody
position. I
achieves
can be
this.
turned around.
Everybody achieves, even if we put Katsandi to make him play as a right back, he can play right back. You are a soccer. You actually know.
But guys, isn't what happened today when we've seen the likes of Cardozo in the midfield and whatnot,
playing as
exactly just tinkering
So
and
that's
saying, "Listen, I can tinker a little bit and switch things around," and it worked.
every
So
player
But then
that
there's
plays.
no creativity. That means you are playing more into defense. You just
But
want
then
one
if you're
goal and then
getting
shut the
results,
game.
but then if
Yeah,
you're
but
getting
It's a,
results with that, then it's okay.
it's 3 points
no, but
No,
yes,
3
yeah, but
right
okay.
now,
thing is
Kelvin.
how-
I would argue that's the most important thing for
The
Kaizer
thing
Chiefs.
is, how long are you going to be lucky to get those 3
No,
points like
it's
that?
not.
Oh, so they were lucky today.
It's not every game. It's not every game that you can do that. That's why I'm saying
Yeah.
every defender these days, every defender should be able to play as a defensive midfield. You know that, right? So and then
But
even
technically, but tactically, we know that
there
we
is
can't
no
do it
tactical.
here.
There is no tactical. As long as you can play as a defensive midfielder, you can play as a centre back. right? And then as a striker, also you can play as an attacking midfield. So simple as that.
You
Cardoso
should be
played
able
very
to.
well
Makes
in that
sense.
position today.
Yeah,
He
I
did
think
play very
look,
well today.
yes, no, he played very well. I think just when he started trying to build up, Cardoso lost the ball and then he had to recover and try and win the ball back again from his own mistakes. But defensively, he did well. He broke down. He did exactly what Gavin wanted, and you could see that they just wanted to break the momentum of AmaZulu's play, which it worked tactically. I still got a question when it comes to. I just didn't see a system. I didn't see a strategy before that. That was my concern. When I looked at it, it was a game, and I don't know if you guys agree with me that when they attacked on the right hand side, Kaizer Chiefs, they ended the play on the right. It was never, or when they attacked on the left, it was always on the left. It was never from the left to the center to the right. I don't know. Did you guys notice that or?
The most
Yeah,
fluent side
100%.
was the Zuma side. The most fluent side was the Zuma side.
Yeah, but
It was more lively today.
But it was never a change of point of attack. So it was like almost like it was easier for it's easier for defenders or a team to defend when you basically just want to attack. Like for example,
On
if
one
I
side.
attack
On
one side and you don't
100%.
you understand. So that is why I think that for me, I just didn't see a system. I didn't see a strategy. I just thought that, like we all know and can agree to, is that it was a hard fought result that they wanted. I think, and they just wanted the result at the end. It wasn't about prettiness of football.
For sure.
I agree with you, Frank.
Because it lifts the mood.
think
It
the
lifts
Chiefs.
the mood. It's 3 points. It lifts the mood.
Yeah.
It's a clean sheet. You know, you keep it moving. You can build on this one. Very quickly,
Exactly.
from YouTube, one of the questions. I remember seeing that foul by Skakani. Officiating again. The referees. I mean, that looked like a straight red. It looked like a straight red card. What did you guys think of that one?
He should have walked. Yeah, he should have walked
Yeah,
because I think that was malicious and that was a career-ending injury because the way he came, he had no business in actually to tackle a player like that is facing his own goal. He was posing no threat in terms of going forward, and then I don't know what got into him to actually to tackle a player like that while facing his own goal. As a defender, we know once a player is facing his own goal, he's no threat to you. But once he faces you, then maybe you can make a professional foul or you can try and block him. But to go like that to a player, I think it was very, very bad.
Okay.
And also, did you see? Sorry, man. Did you guys see in the slow motion after the challenge was made, his foot ended up underneath the player, and then as he pulled his foot out, he tried to kick again. I don't know if you guys noticed that, like a retaliation from him fouling a player. I think it was like Sosi says, it was malicious, and that is where we probably have to confirm again, maybe again and again, that we need VAR and we need them for the refs to at least maybe see, have a look at it again.
Okay, guys. Before we move on from this game, very quickly, the socials are pressing you as former players to let us know what do you think the formation that Chiefs were playing today was. What would you call that formation?
Eddie can answer that question.
I need an answer from each of you. What was the formation? Because on
Chiefs was playing 4-1, 4-1. That's what the formation that they were playing today. Yes,
but not throughout the game.
No, I'm not saying through the game. They started with 4-1, 4-1. That's how they started.
Yeah.
And then it progressed to 4-2. Could have been 4-2, 3-1. I'm not sure.
I think comes what's the coach? I think comes what coach tried to do there. He tried to actually to make Cardoso to be a screener for Mphahlele and Ageu. I think he tried to actually to make Cardoso to be a screener because as he was breaking those attacking play, it was easier for Ramal, even if they're playing from a second ball, it was easy for those two to actually to pick it up and start playing because they look a little bit solid just because of Cardoso. Because if Cardoso was moved and then Ageu was put up front, I think we would have seen Chiefs trying to be as solid as they were in the middle. Because I think most of their battle was actually won in the middle. So now looking at it now, the way they
a curious thing, Kelvin. So are you saying that and as much as Daniel Cardozo was breaking up that play, it was more to protect Arama, who in the last game was a bit of a liability. And is that what you're saying, or am I being too cynical?
No. You actually
He was
got it
just
wrong.
protecting the
I'm
back
saying
four.
he's protecting the two. So you work as a screener. So he's a screener between the two center
I
backs.
hear exactly
So
what you're saying, but I'm saying, are you saying that Gavin thought that his defenders need defending?
I don't think they needed defending, because I think when they used Cardoso, they also knew that they still had another center back. That is
Okay.
an extra.
Okay. I'm just okay, cool, guys. Let's move on to the next game, and that was, of course, a resounding victory for Orlando Pirates in the heat of the North. They were able to get themselves a very good 3-0 victory. I mean, it could have been more. At some point, it looked like they were just, playing for fun. And it was all characterized by the coach, Joe Masuta, just saying, we didn't pitch up. And, in the absence, we saw was a good display from Orlando Pirates. And, one that kind of says, okay, cool. This is a team that has, that deserves to be challenging for something this season, because we're looking at the way they're playing, and they're doing it so well. And today 3 different goal scorers, Lodge gets 2 assists. It just seemed like the machine is finally starting to come together, or once again. And you have a day where Chiefs and Pirates win, and you just hope that is this the momentum, or is it a flash in the pan thing? We'll see. Time will tell. But what did you guys make of Pirates versus TTM?
I think for me
Eddie,
it
let
was
us
one
know
of the
your
best
share.
games.
Yeah, one of the
I think
best games.
I think for me it was one of the best games that I've seen now Pirates playing, because they applied everything that a person even who's watching the game can like literally say, yes, this is the Orlando Pirates everybody has been wanting to watch. I think they all defended very well. They were all attacking. They assisted one another, and then I think the game was won in the midfield. I mean, with Motswari, Maringe, and Lodge, they completely destroyed TTM. So they would wait for them. Everybody would go behind the ball, so TTM could try and play immediately when they lose position. You see, this is one thing that I don't understand about TTM. They could not care exactly where they were losing position. Otherwise, if they would understand, they know that Mango and Lodge, Pace and Pule, then they would literally say, okay, listen, when you get into the final third, this is what we need to do. But Pirates were very smart. As soon as they get the ball, Lodge, Mango, Pule, that's it. And then they created goals, and then they scored goals. And they were marvelous to watch.
I mean, I love the way where you put Pace. He sounded like a teammate of the other 3. You were like, it was Lodge, it was Mango, Pace, and Fule. And you're right. It's a very, very good combination. Very good combination. But when you look at Mishak Mapangule, his mistake, and how easily, that moment there, you just see a sharp Orlando Pirates team. Fule gets in there just to pick his pocket, Schwabe. And it's those kind of days when you realize that maybe as a player, I don't know, when you find those little moments of genius that turn the game, I'm sure it's a good feeling as a team that this might be our day here. And the confidence just built from that.
Yeah, I know. I know a lot of goalkeepers are always going to hate me because I'm going to be quite critical on them. But Washington Arubi, you have a defender that is 1 meter away from you. You pass him the ball, and then you sprint to the box, and then he passes it to Makambule. Now, I heard Wayne Sandilands on the field. I heard Nyauza on the field. But I didn't hear anybody shout to Makambule, man on, or pass the ball back. Yet, after the goal is conceded, I hear Washington Arubi is shouting at the player after he's watching Otto first try a shot, get it blocked, stop the ball, look where he can pass it. And this is while your goalkeeper's watching from outside, like from a bird's eye view. So for me is the first thing is Arubi, the pass to that defender. You inviting pressure to that defender. Tell the defender to go away, and you kick the ball long or pass the ball to Makambule. Tell him man on. There was no communication, lack of communication. Makambule thought that he, yet Coach Joe Masutu said, we knew that they were going to press us. So if you know that they're going to press you, why is Makampule looking like he's having a stroll in the park? Because you know that they're coming to press you as soon as they're going to pass you the ball. You need to be more alert. Look at what's around you. So it's naivety, but at the end of the day, as Joel Masutu said, we've practiced for them to press high on that. On the fact of with regards to Orlando Pirates. Now, I've got one big concern when it comes to Orlando Pirates. So Orlando Pirates has played 6 games where they've led, but they 3 of them they've won and 3 of them it's either a draw or a loss, which means 50%. Last season they've played 16 games where they've scored first and they've won 13. So that is a concern for them. And where it was the concern was they've scored in the 15th minute. Then after the 15th minute, for about 10 minutes after that, they were on the back foot. TTM had more position. Then they were on the back foot, and then Rakali got that opportunity to make it 1-1. So that is the concern. And I think that is where the coach also agrees, is where his concern is, when you have your opportunities, try and kill the game off earlier so you can play with a little bit more freedom. Yes, 3-0, but he was also saying that it should have been 5. But that 3-0, the way I look at it is, he wanted that 3-0 in the 50th minute. So he can say, okay, now I can start bringing on my changes. I can start bringing on new players. I can start looking at, my combinations like he did today at the back. So, yeah, I think still Pirates has, as much as it was a convincing and a good performance from them, midfield, I like Pule's impact on the game. But I do feel that they also know that they've still got weaknesses here and there.
Okay. Well summed up. So in terms of you, I mean, you're wearing the colors, so I have to ask you, also on this one.
Yeah. For me, I was quite impressed with Pirates. I think they had a very good game. They applied pressing. They set up good pressing traps, which they actually caught up with the TTM. Their goals, you could see from the word get-go that Pirates wanted to score first, and they did everything with intention. They played forward. They moved forward quickly. They made sure that they press TTM from starting the play, and they always regroup very quickly to get into their own half, just to see in terms of how they're going to start. Because as Shoaib is actually explaining how the goal came about, the one where the keeper passed the ball, I think that one they did it deliberately, just to see if he's going to buy into that action. And unfortunately, the keeper bought into it, and then the players were alert. Because remember, I will also give kudos to the technical team for actually training against that as well, to say they know that we're going to come and press, but now let's make sure that they switch off by trying to actually to lift the foot off the pedal and get back a little bit. Now, when you think that you have space to play, knowing very well that Pirates have fast attackers, why do you still want to play at the back when you know that you're not that comfortable? That was one of the points, because they caught them on that. So their traps were well set up, and then they had their conversion rate, so which is their score. TTM was chasing the game from the onset, from the whistle. You could see that the team that was more tactical was actually Pirates. Even with the ball position, the orientation of the passes, moving from the wing, the introduction of always being on the ball, Mohango, Pule, being a huge influence in the game. And it was great to also to see Mohango score again, to actually be on the scoreboard again after he last scored in October. And also for Makaringa, I was happy for him to finally to have actually gotten the goal, which is going to take his confidence up, and because he's such an influential player on that middle of the park.
Eddie, I just want to speak about TTM, and maybe, as someone who's captained teams and been in dressing rooms, as far as what is the impact when, it is the open transfer window at the moment, as far as you're looking around and you're thinking, wow, we're thin, because that's something the coach brought up as far as, are they going to reinforce? Are they going to bring in more bodies? He says he came into the game with one left back, one defender. And this is a long sustained project as far as, the season is concerned. So, how do you feel as a player when there's this slight possibility that the hands to come and help with the heavy lifting aren't coming?
I think TTM, they definitely need to go out on the market to look for players. I mean, if you look at the upfront, I think there's only, I mean, in my opinion, I could only see, what's his name? The one that missed the chance again.
For
For TTM. I think it was only chance that they got. He's the former Orlando Pirates player.
oh yes, what's his name? Rachali.
Yes,
Yeah,
Rakan.
Rachali.
I think he's the only one that was trying something. So I think for
Mm.
them, they need to go on the market and then get players. But it doesn't have to be big name players, because they do have those kind of big name players, but they're not showing up. So is it?
Where's Lamola?
Is it? Hey,
Where's
Good question.
Lamola? Because
Lamola.
Lamola wasn't even on the. I know
On the bench.
last week. No, he wasn't on the bench. I know last week there was
He
three
wasn't on the
players that
bench, yeah.
strike. Yeah, there was three players that striked. It was Lamola, Nonyani, and one of the other bigger name players as well.
Yeah,
it
I
was,
think yes.
Because they weren't getting paid. So
Exactly. I think that's also a huge factor, that even if they go on the market, who are they going to buy, because they are not paying their thing,
Well,
players.
this is what I'm asking, is that, like, as players, when this is the mood and that you need help and there's no one and it doesn't look like the help is coming, what's the discussion amongst yourselves? Is it to say, hey guys, we must just push and try, or what's the overwhelming emotion in that dressing room?
I think
it's
for
very
me,
difficult. It's very difficult to go out there, comes, and then try to do your best when you know that at the end of the month you're not getting your salaries, what is due to you. So even playing a team like Orlando Pirates, halftime you're losing, and they're like, gents, okay, even if we win, what are we going to get? We're not going to get anything. So
Okay,
the head,
okay, yeah. I hear what you're
the
saying,
head-
but
yeah.
that's a financial question. My question is,
Yes.
what does it look like, or what does it feel like when the club doesn't seem like it's supporting the coach and you as players by bringing in more people to help? That's what's as players? How does that?
Yes. Yeah.
Look,
You know
but
what? Okay.
Hold
go
on,
ahead,
hold on,
Shoaib.
hold on. Eddie, I'll come back to you. Shoaib, let me get your thoughts on that one whilst you mull that one over. Eddie.
I believe they've got a good squad. I just don't believe the squad is happy. Obviously, when it comes to people not getting paid, no one's going to be happy. I mean, you look at the players that they do have. Miguel Tim is still there. If Lamola, if he can come back, if he's not injured, you have Rakali, you have Malongwane that came from Chiefs. You have Brighton Uklongo, which is a backup keeper at a team like that. So you have Nonyani. For me, that is good players. Besides the players that played today.
Sure.
I think they've gotten Ngani. I think they've got a good core of players, and I don't think that's the problem. I don't even think I wouldn't. Maybe here and there I would maybe try, and yes, they've got even Diamond Tapola that played today that hasn't played in a while, and he's a good player. He come from Pirates. He played at Chippa. He was Chippa's captain at the time. So for me, is if you can make those players happy, that is what I think is the biggest problem here. And get them all in. I think they could be a good team.
Okay. Eddie, I'm just letting you know that I'm coming to you with a Jele question in a moment. Okay, so just prepare yourself. Kelvin, I mean, looking at the whole situation with TTM, obviously now when there's all the stuff that's off the field, yet you still have to focus on getting the results and playing well. Is the motivation now for other players to maybe think, okay, you know what? Once again, it would seem I have to put myself in some sort of shop window, because whether this place is sustainable or not, we still, as players, need to show that we're quality. And that, the coach is going to get that sometimes. You're going to get these performances where, we just don't pitch up. And then those where it switches on that, hey, we've got a point to prove. And how do you channel that all the time, every week?
Yeah, it's so unfortunate that when there's money involved, because it's a business for the club and for us, we need to provide for our families. It's a catch-22. But yet again, as professional players, we need to understand that there's contracts that are in place here. If we decide that we're not going to pull up our weight, it's going to affect us as well. Because remember, you always carry that stigma. If this team were to get relegated, who's going to sign you? That's the first question that comes into mind. For you to put yourself in the market, you have to do your best in each and every game that you're there. We know that we are aware that the team is having financial problems, but at the end of the day, you also need to understand that you might have the confidence, because not every team is actually going to sign those players that are coming from TTM, because everyone is watching. And everyone knows now that if you want to maybe get points, maybe TTM is the team that you go for. At this point, players can just focus on what they have to do, and just be professional as possible as they can. Because if you're going to carry a negative weight, they will, because remember, these coaches talk, and then they will say, okay, hey, I'm thinking of signing this X and Y player. Then they say, that player is bad. Don't actually even bring him here, because he did this and this and this. And then that's how you're going to lose your next bet if you're worried about so much about money. So just play.
But Kevin, the reality is that I've got a wife that is driving a car. I also got a car. They need to be paid at the end of the month. And then if I don't get salaries, they're going to get repossessed. Then you honestly think, can I literally go out there, do my best, play, win, at the end of the month, I'm not getting anything? It also brings you down, because
I understand that.
Kids need to
I understand it, but now I understand it.
Kids
I'm
need to
saying
go to school,
now,
house needs to be paid for, cars needs to be paid for, and then if I'm not getting that,
remember your contract.
Remember,
this is where the legal aspect comes in, and your agent needs to come in, because
exactly.
Now you're fighting two wars at the same time. Yours is to play, and the salary is managed by your manager. No, speak to your manager. Speak to your manager. He needs to address that. You need to play, because what's going to be next year is they're going to look at the culprits. You know it, Eddie. We know it. Senior players are the first to fall. The same thing that happens to Opa and the same thing that happened to Malungwane. They were the one that were uncomfortable about some of the things, and what happened to them? They were chased, isn't it? So now, what about you? What about you? What about you then now? What about you then now? At the end of the day, you go and fight for that money, and then the next day they put you on the transfer. Then now you can't pay for your kids for the next 2 years.
I'm not refusing to play. All I'm saying is that I'm not getting the money. As much as my agent is going to fight for it, as much as my agent is going to fight for it, right? But it's not going to give me that in mind that I'm going to get my money come the end of the month.
Okay.
Understandable.
Fair enough.
Understandable. It's understandable. But what I'm saying to you, Eddie, leave those things to the manager, because you fighting that. You saw what happened. That team is not that professional. Malongwane was gone. Malongwane left, and then he came back. And then also, Opamanyisa is at home today. He's at home today without a team. So what are you saying about that? You're gonna fight those battles.
It's the same thing.
Okay, so the manager must earn his money. Your agent must earn his money.
Yes, not you.
It's the same thing with Opa sitting at home and being there playing, because at the end he's not getting paid.
I guess.
But no. What's going to happen is, if he's still in contract, if his manager and his lawyer do the job, you'll actually get that money back. So it's not that you're not going to get the money. You are eventually going to get that money back, but not when you want it.
Yeah.
Guys,
let's just answer the question about Happy Jele very quickly, because there's a lot of interest as far as everyone who's watching on YouTube as to why doesn't he start? Some reckon that it might be something, personal. Nkosienzile Zichaka says, I think our coach has a personal issue with Happy Jele and he needs to sort it out. We need Jele there in the back to assist Tulani. Obviously today, the coach, obviously to the fans' dismay, went with Mayela instead in the center of defense to partner Nyawuza, when some thought that if Tyson goes out, it means Happy comes in. Happy did go in eventually, as a sub, but as to why he didn't start, what do you think some of the theories might be there? Let's start with you, Eddie. I did say I want, because former club captain.
It's very difficult. I think because if you look at, because I was also expecting that Tyson is going to partner with Jele, and that was going to form, probably the best centre back in the country.
This is the beginning of the season. Still, you thought that going into the new season, they were. You didn't think that Nyawuza would supersede
Yes.
Happy Jele in the pecking order.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, I mean, if it's something personal, we wouldn't know because it's something that I was also trying to find out.
What does it
from
look
the guy.
like to you? Does it look personal?
Yes,
Knowing
it does.
Happy, looking,
No, it does.
you know,
Because
Happy, he's probably a consummate professional, you know, knowing all the things you know and his current situation. Do you think it's personal?
very humble guy, and I don't think he will have anything to, I mean, fighting against the coaches. And he's one of the most reliable defenders at Pirates. So I was expecting that he should be playing game in, game out. Unless if they're saying that he doesn't have the legs to carry on, then I don't know. But I was expecting Jele and Tyson to panda each other and then play. But today's game, yes, you could say he was supposed to start. He was not supposed to start because the center back, they played very well. And the good thing was that we had a left center back and a right. Because once you have those two playing together, then the team is well balanced on the left side because it's a left footer, and then on the right. But it was a good thing that he came in later on and then played. But I just hope that it's not something personal. I just hope that is not something personal.
No, for sure. Schwab, I mean, you know, you don't
I think-
really, when you substitute like center backs, it's mostly, you know, go out there and just have a run, son. We've got, you know, the lead. We're looking comfy. Just go shut up shop. I mean, is that what Happy Jell has been reduced to? Or, you know, are we overthinking it? Is it a long season? You know, some people might have likened it to Klompoke kind of situation at Sundowns. I mean, are we all panicking too early in the season, or does there seem to be something else at play here?
I look, to be honest, I don't think it's something personal. For me, it's Happy Jele wasn't in this. Yeah, Happy Jele wasn't in the squad the last two games before this one. So we maybe need to find out, was there injury. We know at a lot of clubs.
No, he
COVID
wasn't
has played
injured.
a role.
He
Yeah,
wasn't
He
no, but,
wasn't injured.
yeah, but we also know that COVID has also played a role. We're not saying that, but
Right.
it could be
The silent,
symptoms.
the conversation no
Exactly.
one's willing to have. I hear you, Schwab. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's a lot of things. I mean, they were just saying, but if he wasn't injured, then it could have been in isolation. There's a lot of variables now. There's not only, you know, personal or tactical. It's personal, tactical, or
COVIDial, coronaville.
exactly.
That's whatever.
So
Let's make it up.
yeah, when I look at the past two games before this, he wasn't there. So I also think that the coach didn't want to take the chance by throwing him in, and you know, gradually bringing him in now.
That's a good point. Mandisa, Sonika, okay, so you know, what do you guys make of that? Schwab says that could be a factor. We're not confirming that it is, but it is a good consideration to make. And so, see, we've seen the clubs aren't really, you know, interested in declaring who's got COVID. You know, a lot of it is rumor. None of the clubs, and it's impossible. It's impossible at this stage. When you look at the global game and, you know, England games being called off because squads are, you know, getting COVID, that no one has COVID in South African football. That's just impossible.
Yeah.
But we hardly hear it. But why is that? What's going on? Why this wall of silence?
I think they're trying to protect themselves because I think if they were to reveal, maybe the whole squad actually could be found that they're positive, and that will actually bring a halt to the game. So I
You're
think
saying there's a possibility that there's players like
there's more players.
COVID.
There's more players. There is more players. That's for sure.
So, are you talking facts here or what? Because I just want to confirm, is this facts? Did you hear of other
Globally, I'm
players?
talking facts. What's happening around the world globally?
Okay.
Okay.
We are all
Globally.
affected, so
Globally,
you cannot
globally,
you cannot pick. So if you see teams like Manchester City who are leading, they're coming up front and then they're calling off games. What's so special about us?
Exactly, that's my thing. Why? I agree 100%. I don't think there should be any shame in it. I think that there should be also
Yeah, exactly.
build awareness for the rest of the country. I mean, I think it
Exactly.
would be, for example, if Shea Walters says I'm tested positive, it should be awareness for other people to be more aware, because it looks like people are worried now because there's a pandemic and a lot of people are hearing about it, but we don't hear about it when it comes to our personalities and our athletes when it comes to
For
football.
sure. To their
I
credit,
think that I think the
Orlando
remedy.
Pirates is the one club that did kind of, come out when Ben Matwari got
Right. Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
So to
Mm.
their credit, the fact is they did say then that one of their players is what we don't know now is whether any more players have been affected. Sometimes they could have learned from that experience of saying that Ben has his, and they could have not enjoyed having given that
Yeah.
information and think to themselves now that actually, hey, let's just keep it to
So
ourselves.
like maybe 60 or 50% of the players that have contacted it, they will never come forward for that. They will never come forward for that. Because I think it poses more danger. Because we train with these players every time. So
For
if
sure.
one of us has got it, obviously, majority of us will actually have it. So like
Well,
you
I mean,
look at
you
the
just have
testing
to look at the end
criteria.
of the game. So, see, would you be
Mm.
shaking hands and doing the hugs and stuff at the end of the game? I mean,
It's
I'm seeing those.
impossible not to do it. It's impossible not to do it.
It's
It's
impossible not
impossible
to
not
do
to
it.
do it.
You must
Never,
just walk
because you
away.
see,
Walk away.
no, look at it now. Like I saw today, there was a player that fell down on AmaZulu game, and then he gave him a hand, Stakan, and then he picked him up.
Hmm.
So it's impossible. That sportsmanship still stays there. Yes, the disease is around us, but again, we're still used to that old format, which is we need to actually to move away from it. Because I think the doctors as well, they need to come to be actually more disciplined in this, because this thing can carry on. It can actually go a longer distance than actually we expected it to be. Because if I've got it and then we play this match and then it's not called off, majority of the players might have it, even the opposition team.
Okay, well, there we go. As far as Happy Jele, that's one thought. Let's see. Give the coach time. He, like Shrey pointed out, he hadn't played in the previous games or been in the squad, so maybe he's coming back to full fitness, and maybe there might be an opportunity. But you think, with suspension and Tyson being out, this was the time for him to come in. He might just not have been ready for the occasion. Very quickly, a big record being set today by Bradley Grobler for SuperSport United in a game where he has now become their all-time leading goal scorer, 58 goals now. And what a marvel. It's a pity that we didn't kind of see the game live, because it's one of those moments where I'm sure, his friends and family from around the world, if they weren't able to be there, would have loved to see something like that. But, Eddie, it's a huge accolade. We speak about a lack of a goal sometimes, and here's a guy who's already 10 and 10, and he's a scoring machine. He scored again today, having done so the last time out. Your thoughts on Bradley Grobler breaking the record at SuperSport United whilst leading the side to victory earlier today?
I think one of the best strikers in the country. I think he had proven that playing for SuperSport and scoring goals, and even when they are losing and when they needed him, he's always there. He's always available, and he score goals left, right, and center. I think for him breaking the record, I think it shows what kind of the striker he is, and I think I will give him the heads up. I think if Edge was on his side, I think he could be playing in Europe by then.
I mean,
I
Shoaib,
think-
yeah, Susie?
Yeah, for me, firstly, I think this it's a huge congratulations to Bradley, and this gives us hope as a nation that one of our own actually still have his scoring boots, and then is banging in the goals. This actually gives a great partnership with Gabuza, because now, as more as Grobler is scoring, Gabuza is also coming behind. I think his confidence has actually went up. It's a shot up, Gabuza, and which is influenced mostly by Grobler. So Grobler, him scoring, and then Gabuza being the center of attention now. Now the attention will switch and go to Grobler. And then this is where Gabuza has to show up again. But I'm happy for him as well, who has come in and he's been scoring goals as well.
Shoaib, I mean, their exploits today, but Gabuza and Bradley sent SuperSport United into second position. I don't know how many recent seasons we've kind of said, are they the dark horse? Are they the ones who are going to come in and make things interesting? But I mean, to them and the club, as a club, I'm sure it just looks like development. We're just getting better at doing what we do, because that's what you do when you keep the genesis of your side mostly together over a long period of time. But what does this say now in terms of being second at this point in the season? how far can they go? Are they the party spoilers possibly as far as, title aspirations are concerned? Or are they going to be the team to be runners up? Is it a fight between them and Orlando Pirates behind Mamelodi Sundowns? How do they affect this run-in? Are they going to help Pirates by taking points off the likes of Sundowns? What is their role in this drama as the season unfolds, do you think? Or what do you think it'll come to be?
For me, I think it's good when we look at SuperSport as in a development structure. I mean, I even look at the one player, but I think he's a player from Wits. The last game that they played, Phillips. He came on and he was the assist to Bradley Grobler's 57th goal. And you look at Mokoena, you look at Mbulu, there's players that are always going to come through. But what we also need to understand is with those young players we have to also trust the process of them making errors. So I don't think they're going to have the consistency. And I do think that this weekend now against Sundowns is going to be a true test for them. I mean, if you can compete and beat Sundowns convincingly, and and I'm not saying only by results. I'm saying by competing with them, and you can give them a hard time. Then we can judge. And yeah, I think for me I think SuperSport's got a well balanced organization where they're in the top 3, top 4. They can get a cup per season, and they can sell players and export players. So it's a good business module to have. And yeah, I think I think we should look at them as aspiration for other clubs as a good module. So you're not just chasing one thing. And I think Cape Town City is heading to a certain degree the same way. I think they've also heading to a similar module. But it's going to take a while. And you must also remember when it comes to SuperSport, I mean, SuperSport has SuperSport soccer schools all over the country now, where they're basically getting the cream of the crop from most cities. So it's a module that's been growing for about 10 to 15 years now. So I think it's something that is just reaping the rewards now. With regards to Bradley, I think this season we're going to see somebody with that 20 goal mark, if not more. And again the way SuperSport plays and it just suits the two of them perfectly. And I think that is why I think they're both going to be scoring. Well, I think Abuza's also going to hit 10 or more goals this season.
Okay, Eddie. I mean, of your countryman coach Gaetano Tembo, how much more time? Schwab says it's a process, but obviously there's no bigger prize than winning the league. It stuffs the coffers with the most money, as far as prize monies are concerned, locally anyway. And then, you have a situation where obviously you're still going to have that mixing it up of players coming in and coming out, but how much more time do you give Gaetano to go for the big one?
Do you think that's on his mandate?
Eh?
Do you think that's...
Well, that's what I'm asking.
No,
is that like, is that maybe not what they want?
I don't think that's his mandate. I think the SuperSport, they trust in him, they believe in him. I think he had also done pretty good, winning silverwares and things, stuff like that. I think now, because of the team that he has, and he's still building, throwing in the youngsters there from the development. I think that's exactly what SuperSport wants, and I think if they win the league, and then that's a bonus for them. But I think they want SuperSport to compete in the league, of which they are actually doing that. They're competing with the Sundowns and the Pirates and the Kaizer Chiefs. So as Shoaib said, that Sunday is going to be a very good test for them against Sundowns. Yeah, so we will see for them. But as a mandate for him to win the league, I don't think so. I don't think they.
Yeah, maybe not this season, but do you think it has to come into the discussion? Was more my question. Is that, do you think he eventually will be told, or do you think it's one of those things where, based on the module that Shoaib highlights, that there's actually no pressure to win the league, just keep on winning something, let's sell a couple of players, wash, rinse, and repeat? Or does the pressure eventually come?
I think yes. I think so. Not sure when exactly, but I think it will be a mandate that this season we have to win the league, or
Okay,
whatever.
I'm going to
season.
simplify the question for
Look.
all of you, and I'm going to end on this. How many more years until SuperSport United is expected to win the league? Let's start with you, Eddie.
Whew.
From the squad, from the players, from the development, if you can keep the nucleus, Bradley Grobler is probably going to leave. So, but that considered, how many years off are they from winning the league? Or if Bradley leaves, they must just start again. I want to know from you
I
guys.
think for me, I think Caetano would love to win the league. But I think right now, with the amount of youngsters that are coming in, let's give it at least maybe another 2 seasons just to see him going at the top.
Cool.
Because also you need to understand that also SuperSport is trying to actually give those opportunities to youngsters and then make sure that they actually go out and sell them and actually make a profit out of it. As you can see from the development, because you cannot have a development and then you still keep other players still. So you need to keep it moving. So they must flow.
Yeah.
Players coming
Sure.
in, players must come out. So as now Bradley is going to be leaving, there needs to be another Bradley that's going to fit in his shoes. So another 2 seasons also, I think he'll be in the right space.
Schweib?
Yeah, I also say I think even if next season comes and Caetano and Stan Matthews say, okay, we're not going to sell any players, we want to push for the league, then I think it could be next season or the season thereafter, where they'll say, okay, we'll give it 2 years straight. We're not going to sell any players, whatever players, because then Ikaram Reyners would have come to a fold good. I think could potentially replace Bradley if Kapuza can replace Bradley and Ikaram Reyners fill in the place if Bradley should leave. Then I think, and all the youngsters get the valuable experience that they do this season and next season. Yeah, I think maybe 2022 to 2023 season, and they don't sell any players, which is difficult. But yeah, I think maybe 2022, 2023 season. I mean, there's even talks now that there's a lot of hype going around Ronwen Williams, and there's a lot of talk that there's opportunities for him. MLS potentially. So in that sense, they could lose him, which is going to be a massive blow as well.
That would be a massive loss for sure.
Yeah.
That would be. Let's hope they've got someone in the tank to come and fill in. Eddie, last word.
Yeah, I think I will agree with Shoaib. I mean, if they keep the same squad that they have for next season, I think they will go for it. But if they sell the players that they have, 3+ years for them to win the league.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, gents. And Mr. Zichak, I'll also leave with your comment of the partnership between Grobler and Kapuza. It's going to give a lot of teams a big problem. They're unstoppable. Folks, go in and enjoy the second half of Besitao turning out for Brighton. If you've been tuned in with us live, yes, we did kind of start broadcasting at 8 p.m. when his match kicked off. If you're watching this a bit later, just for some context. Gents, thank you very much for your thoughts and expertise. Just to give a quick roundup of the results from today, Chakuma losing 3-0 to Orlando Pirates, SuperSport United winning 2-1 in the untelevised game over Bloem Celtic, and then AmaZulu going down 1-0 against the Kaizer Chiefs down at Teguini. So, gents, until we meet again, thank you so much. Have a good evening. And to you who's tuned in on YouTube, thanks for your time and your support. Remember to subscribe. We'll catch you either here or on our other home on Soweto TV in the new week. Take care.